All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Back for our market update here. This is the market update reopening edition. Joined again, as always, with Mark McKenna. How are you doing today, Mark?
Welcome to be here, Jeff. It's funny that it's just about our 90-day anniversary from our first call when we met with a couple other local agents and
Yeah,
talked about the market. But that was a different 90 days. Let's say that is for sure.
yeah, definitely was different. I think it's good to see that things are going to start opening up again. It means I have to shave because now I got to get rid of this. That was the whole thing. So
Yeah.
but yeah. So let's talk about it. What are you seeing out there, Mark? What's going on?
Well, this market never stops surprising me right now.
Yep.
Price points have really gone crazy. There's, as we were talking prior to getting on the call, had one house on the market for 70 days. People were getting tired and wanted to stop showing it. And we sold it this weekend for 10,000 over list price on a mid 270 sale price. So, you're talking about close to 5% over list. And they were extremely happy that we like, hey, stick with it. It's going to happen. Um, and the big thing there is inventory levels are just. Why don't you bring up that statistic that we can show everybody
Yeah.
what's happening out there? So I did a quick search before we got on the call of what is available in Marlton, Mount Laurel, Medford, Cherry Hill, and Morristown. And if you look on the screen, on the bottom of the screen where it says current inventory of June of 2019. Okay, so this time last year, there were 1,760 houses in those five towns. Right above that, you'll see current inventory in June of 2020, 749 properties. So there are 1,011 less houses this time this year than last year. Okay. So your inventory level is 3%, 3 month supply of inventory, and if I went through all 749 of those houses and called every agent, I would guarantee you that probably 40% of them already have contracts out. So that number is still deceiving. Now, the other thing, if you scroll over to the right, you'll see in June of 2020, the average sale price was 367,000. Today, the average sale price is 469,000. Okay, so that's an 18%, close to 20% increase in the average sale price, list price. And look at the average selling price, 358 to 310. It's $48,000. That's big. It's over 10% in percentages. So it is. We haven't seen this, and I think it's going to continue to happen. So that the numbers are, last May there was 555 houses listed. This May there was 390. So the inventory just continues and continues to shrink. And what happens with that, we all know, the demand just keeps going wild.
Yeah.
So you want to take that down, that's fine.
Got it.
So, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. Um, the one thing that we kind of chuckle anymore is we'll say, oh, got another buyer from New York,
Yeah.
got another buyer from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Coming down and they'll be like, I got to buy a house this weekend. Like, okay, we can do that. No problem. So, and I'm sure, on your end, what I like, the thing that I see that I like is the strength of the buyer. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean it's unbelievable right now, and to your point, the New York and the Philly buyers coming down, it's unbelievable, and I have to caution them, as we have more and more buyers who are coming out of New York. My first question is, are you going to continue to work in New York? And their answer is, yeah, I'm going to jump on the New Jersey Transit and I'm going to go back and forth because we want to keep our jobs. I mean, I got a guy right now who's a bus driver in New York who literally is coming down here. He's going to drive 2 hours every day and then go and drive a bus again. He's literally on the road all day long. So it's unbelievable. I mean, the people coming out, I mean, I understand it, obviously. I mean, being cooped up in a city like that, I can't even imagine what that was like. And to see us reopening now, I think is huge. And these people they want space. They want to be able to, they want, and as you've said in the past, South Jersey's completely always been underpriced and undervalued.
Totally undervalued. It's about, and it's surprising how this market in such a short period of time has done a total 180, because the hot, sexy thing to do for the last 4 years was sell your house in the suburbs and move into Philly and buy a place or rent a cool apartment. And that has definitely changed. And I don't think you're going to see, that's not going to be a short-lived thing. I think it's going to continue to happen. And I think, the differences that we have is our supply is so low, their supply is going to be like that. And I had heard from a banker, and I don't know if this is 1,000% true. They have a 12-year supply of housing in their pipeline approved in Philly and New York. Okay, 12-year supply. Jeez. So and if you see a pullback in that market with that much supply, that's a recipe for disaster. So I think, you're going to continue to see people not renew leases. When you're coming here and you're buying a great house for $500,000, a great house,
right?
Then you sell what in Manhattan? You sell a 800 square foot apartment for $2 million. So even if it drops 15%, it's 1.7.
Yeah, it's
1.7 getting you something really, really nice around here.
Absolutely.
So
no doubt. What do you think? What's your take on the fact of everything reopening? I mean, is it, now that you got the restaurants and they're gonna be able to do the outdoor dining and the salons are opening, and I mean, is that going to bring even more buyers that are back in the mix now because of because they're going to have jobs again and they're able to work and things are going to get open back up?
I don't think the employment issue is going to be that big of a deal. Okay. I do think that there's some people who have houses in other states, like in Florida and different areas. They don't want to come back yet because they like to go out to eat. They like to do their thing. Sure. I think you'll see some of those people migrate back to Jersey. I have a couple clients who are waiting for the house up on the market until they feel comfortable with that. But it's going to be interesting to see, how many restaurants actually make it. You're talking, your whole business is going to be based on weather.
It's true.
So, and you really can only eat outside in New Jersey from May till September, maybe squeeze out October.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a challenge.
Sure.
And and a couple places are not reopening. Like Rio's not going to reopen. So the guys who survive are going to do really well.
No kidding.
And it's going to be interesting. But we've come a long way since March 23rd, when people, the one thing I have noticed, I'm sure the traffic is getting back to normal.
Yeah, it is.
I got stuck in my first traffic jam last Thursday and on 295, and I got really cranky. I'm like, this is what it's like all the time. I forgot. That's interesting.
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, those average list prices you were showing a little earlier, is that a function of a certain type of person selling versus others? I mean, why such a big difference?
I think that a lot of the inventory, a lot of the higher end stuff in that south end of Marlton, Medford, Chemung, Tabernacle, over 5 has been sitting for a while. And sure. Now that's become, again, more attractive because the pricing's great, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, a lot of the places have the pools, and that's what people want. And, that with that inventory moving, and the 250 to 400 always consistently moves strong.
Yeah.
But once you throw that higher end, I mean, we probably have 6 or 7 deals on the books right now that are over 6 in that Medford market, and that's a couple of them sold over list. I had a 720 that I got 718. I had a 650. I got 675.
Nice.
So there's some really good numbers.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been like that. And even that level of supply of inventory is really low,
Yeah.
really low. So it's good.
I mean, that's a function too. I mean, obviously, as those price points increase, but we have interest rates that are just keep going down and down. I mean, they had a little bit of an uptick the beginning of last week, and then they came back down again. But that's a function too. People are just realizing money's cheap, and they can get more for their money right now. So it really is huge. I mean, I also have seen and talked to a lot of people who have in the past said that they were going to look at buying a shore home, down the road. And a couple of those people said to me, now I'm looking now because rates and money is so cheap. Why wouldn't I do it now? So I mean, that seems to be.
It's close to free money as you can get. I mean, it's the lowest it's ever been. So and there's still a lot of money on the sideline. Wall Street's been doing pretty good. Made a nice comeback since mid-March. We hit some highs not too long ago. So, there's a lot of good things, and it's a lot different experience than it was in 2008, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
So it's not a financial crisis. It's not, banks aren't running out of money. The liquidity got a little hairy for a little bit, but very short. So it's a totally, totally different animal. And I think, and you could say it more than I can, a lot of people learned from 2008, 9, and 10. They're conservative. They're coming in. They're strong buyers. They have good credit. They're putting a lot of money down. So it's a different animal.
No, yeah, for sure. Definitely agree with you on that. We're seeing that a lot. That to your point though, I think it's important because I'm still seeing it in the market. Is that not everybody is still offering the same products that they once offered. So I want to make sure people are aware of that because on a daily basis, I speak to lenders. Excuse me, I speak to realtors. I speak to attorneys. I have attorneys who are sending me deals right now for turn downs that other banks are not doing. And honestly, they're not even that bad of clients. It's just that their credit box is shrunk. And it's really important that that people realize that I had somebody actually ask me if FHA was still lending money, which I thought was crazy to me. But that's what's happening. Yeah, it's insane. And it's important because people want to buy.
It's misinformed people. Rumors run rampant anymore. We all know that.
Yeah.
It's just, when you start to hear, I still get people ask me if there's an exit tax. They're afraid of the exit tax in New Jersey. I'm like, there's no exit tax. You don't have to worry about that. It's fine. You can go. Right. We'll get you out. It's all good. It's all good. So, but it's I wish that we could almost have a forum like this where, once a week and we can get the top 5 rumors of the week and discuss it and say, this is really what's happening out there in the industry. Yeah. So, but it's, I think this is informative to a lot of people. And I know you did too. And we both saw a lot of people call us, off of these calls like, wow, that was a breath of fresh air. Yeah. We were afraid everything was coming to a standstill. I mean, I have 2 or 3 that are closing this week on my board that they're like, hey, we were ready. We weren't going to put it up. We saw your talk with Jeff and we were like, wow, I guess things are moving. I'm like, yeah, we're still selling, and people have called you, you've gotten all out, like I said, from other attorneys and that we've had on and gotten leads. One of my buyers saw the show, called you and did the loan and we closed that. Yeah. So it's good to inform people really what's happening out there.
Yeah, and I think it helps too because I had somebody, random guy who saw one of our past YouTubes and he called me up and wanted to do a Zoom call and he wasn't sure if he was, he's a buyer. He just wasn't sure if he was ready yet. And we talked and I think he's, hopefully we're going to be getting him going sooner than later. And, I think it's just important that
we'll send him over.
Yeah, he's coming. Don't worry. Yeah, I mean it's important for people to get the real info. You get a different version of it from everybody, and you just got to get the straight. I think that's the most important, is getting the straight talk so that you guys can really get what you need. And that's important too. And I always forget to put this up here, but if you guys have questions specifically for Mark, as far as looking to buy or sell. There's his cell phone number. Give him a buzz. It's important. And you guys can obviously always reach out here on Facebook to either of us. But feel free to call. And then, so what other trends are you seeing right now? Anything in particular other than, certain towns are hotter than others? What do you got?
Well, the Marlton Medford, Mount Laurel market is just on fire.
Yeah.
That hit 250 to 3.25. Last time I looked, I think there was a 10-day supply of inventory, like literally 10-day. Like if we get a property on the market in that 250 to 500, you'll get 20 showings in a weekend, your first weekend. Sometimes more than that. I mean, I've been telling my sellers, if you're getting ready to put your house out the first weekend, you might want to go down the shore for a couple of days, because you're not going to be in your house, because it's a revolving door.
Right.
So it's, and then with buyers, what happens is, when we come in, we do a buyer consult, we kind of try and forewarn them of how competitive the market is. And I'll say, hey, your first house you probably won't get, because you won't be as aggressive. Your second house, you might be in the running, and by your third house, you're like, oh my God, I see what's going on. This stuff's really flying off the shelf. And they're bidding 5, 10, 15,000 over list. And what happens too is, if you don't know what this market's doing, if your agent is not experienced on the listing side, you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. I mean, I had one the other day I showed, it was just a little too small for my buyer. I'm telling you, that seller left 50 grand on the table. I could have sold the house all day for 615. They put it up at 565. It was sold in like one day. I mean, it's a nice chunk of change, and then there's some other ones that I've seen, 5-7% off, and they wonder why they got 19 offers. So it's interesting every day, and it changes. And the one thing I will say, I think the appraisers are doing a great job.
Yeah.
Keeping up, because they know when your demand is your supply is that low with the demand as high as it is, you have to see appreciation. I haven't had too many low ones come in recently. A couple that we did, they actually agreed to make up the difference, because they know how tricky it is to get a house right now. So,
no, I've seen the same thing, for sure. It's crazy. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What do you think as far as that piece of the probably? I mean, the appraisal piece is so important, and if you see this run up, are they able to keep up with that, or is it just going to end up being one of those situations where the buyers are going to have to make up the difference in cash, or the sellers? How does that work out? What do you see?
I think I've had a couple that if a deal doesn't go together for an inspection or whatever reason, we turn around, we put on the market, we get more money. Just had a settlement this morning. It was a small place in Summerdale. I sold 130 and as is, and then I got a deal fell apart. We put it back on. We got 136 as is, and in about literally a day. And they're like, "Wow, we got 6,000 more." I'm like, yeah, "Great," I mean. But the demand is just, and they're investors, they're owner occupants, they're all clean. So, and I also think too that on our side, when you don't have to maintain as many sellers in your pipeline, because your inventory isn't, my inventory is usually 50, 55 actives. I'm in the 20s right now.
Wow.
Almost in the teens. Okay, after this weekend, we'll be in the teens. But that allows you to, because you manage 55 properties active, you got 55 sellers you need to communicate with. That's not including what's pending. So you have to take more time, when you get these deals, you put them together, talking to the loan officer, asking what's their job history, how clean are they, just taking those extra steps, because everything now, even though we're coming out of it, still takes a couple more steps. Just that's how it is, and it's going to probably be like that for quite some time.
Well, it's also volume too. I mean, I know from my side, it's unbelievable the volume of business, because you have such a demand on the purchase side, but there's so many people looking to refi at the exact same time right now. So the capacity is the issue right now, and I think that's going to continue to be a problem and I don't want to say a problem, but it continue to be a good problem to have for a while, because there's no prediction of rates going anywhere, but staying where they're at, maybe even going down a little bit even further. No real talk about it going any other direction. So I think that's going to always be somewhat of an issue. It's interesting.
Let me ask you a question. What percent of your business is purchased to refi right now?
I'm still heavy purchased. I would say I'm probably 75% purchase, 75% purchase, 25% refi. And we prioritize all the purchase business, obviously, first. I mean, nothing against my refi clients out there that are probably watching right now. If it's taking a little bit longer than expected, I do apologize. I know we're probably backed up, but so is every other lender out there. That's that's just part of the importance of it. But back to one of the things you mentioned earlier, and I want to make sure I make this point. One of the things that we do a little differently than most lenders is that every single person that comes into us, we actually physically underwrite upfront. So, and why that's so important is when I get when one of your borrowers or anybody's persons are making an offer, I get a phone call from the listing agent right away, and they're saying exactly what you just said. Hey, what's this guy's qualifications look like? How's it going? And I'm saying they're already completely underwritten. It's completely underwritten file already. So your borrower is as strong as it could be. So that's really important, especially in a competitive market, because you really want that. So.
Huge. I mean, people don't realize it. So, that one thing, and if you can avoid a seller concession, that's great advice right there. Because when you have multiple bids and you're asking for closing costs to be put in there, it just makes you a lot weaker in the chain with the buyers that are out there. So it's important to on those multiple bid situations, go in, no closing costs, be fully underwritten, and your agent has to push those buttons. Like, listen, this isn't something that we're like on the 5-yard line, just punching it in. We just need an appraisal, and we're good. So that's your agent has to work with you. You have to know what's going on. You got to push buttons with the other side, and your agent also should make a phone call to make sure you're not going out looking at properties that are already under contract, because that's really frustrating. Like, hey, it's still available? Oh, we have 19 offers. I'm like, oh, thanks for letting me show it on Sunday afternoon. So,
how's it starting to look though? I know your inventory's down. I know your numbers are still. I believe you said you're still on pace, even with these short on inventory numbers, right? To hit your goals that you were going for the year.
Yeah, we have 28 closing in June.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's pretty good where we're at. I think our average sale price is up about 60,000 over last year.
Wow.
Gross dollar wise, we'll be ahead. It's the pipeline's not as deep because you don't have as much inventory. July's shaping up to be a great month too. So March, April, May, June, July, all strong months. And going into this mess, I was worried about July and August. I thought that's where I was going to see the gap. It seems to be filling up really nicely. We put some nice stuff together this weekend. Put 2 or higher end properties under contract. So that's all good stuff.
Nice.
And we probably have in my group 35 buyers looking for houses.
It's awesome.
That people, the Zillow calls are strong. The referrals are coming in, and it's, we're just looking for people who want to maximize their dollar and sell their house. That's the name of the game.
What are you? Is your
and also, we talked about this too a little bit. Is the forbearance? A lot of people who aren't paying their mortgage because they had a 90-day grace period. Well, that comes into effect in July, right? That's
Yep.
when you'll see it. So I think we're going to see some people who are going to have a lot of financial pressure, but they're going to be, those houses will be gobbled up in no time flat for a good dollar. So they'll be able to bail themselves out if they were unable to get a job. So you won't see, foreclosure after foreclosure like you did back in 2000, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I think that's one thing that maybe will loosen up some of the inventory.
And that's a function
Yeah, we'll see.
so for people out there, that's really a function. What you're saying, and make sure I understand this properly, is that these people may have to sell their properties to help themselves out of a situation. But the difference between '08 and that financial, mess that we had before, there wasn't equity. And you now are showing, just by those numbers we saw earlier, there's a lot of equity out there. People can sell and actually make money and potentially start over. Is that a good way
Yeah,
to put it?
there was no equity, number one,
Yep.
and there was an 18-month supply of inventory.
Right.
So there was probably just in Evesham alone back then. There was probably 400 houses for sale.
Wow.
I think we're probably about 80 right now. I mean, that's a huge drop.
Yeah.
It's like, and I have one going live tomorrow. I mean, I must have had 15 phone calls on it to go through it already. When can I get in? When can I get in? We've had quite a bit of sight unseens.
Mm-hmm.
Just full price, we'll take it. I'm like, I haven't seen it. Oh, we just want it. We know. I'm like, I don't have pictures of it. They want it. I'm like, okay, you're gonna have it. And that always makes you a little leery because everything seems, if it seems too good to be true,
Yeah.
it usually is.
Sure.
So that's interesting.
So
so we'll see what that.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is one of the things that we did this for, initially was to get people, good information and to help people and to, be a light, when this whole thing was going on. So, that's really important. If people are having, financial problems right now and they have equity in their house, I mean, that's somebody that they should be reaching out, right? To talk to you about what some of the options could be. I mean, obviously not from a mortgage standpoint, but what kind of equity that they have and what they could do to possibly move the property. And maybe it's just a matter of resetting themselves up, sell the bigger property, take the equity, move into something that's more affordable based upon your current situation, and then maybe move back again when things straighten back out in a couple of years. So, I mean, that's probably a good way to look at it.
We've hit some highs in some neighborhoods that, are probably 15% over the normal highs in some instances. So, someone might think, hey, my house is only worth 310, and that's where I'm at. It's worth 360, and they can get out and put some money in their pocket and go until they're back on their feet, because when you stop paying for a while, that'll gobble that equity up pretty quickly.
Sure.
So the market can save a lot of people, and doing that the right way. So that's a good point. Don't sit there and wait till the last second. Strike while the iron's hot. Save yourself, save your credit, put some money in the bank, maybe pay some bills off that you have out there, and kind of start fresh.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good point.
So if you got people out there that are thinking that right now, you want them to give you a call, what would you do for them? Is that something where you put together like a CFA for them? And if you could explain what that is, what's the best way to do that for you?
We'll come out, we'll take a look at the house, and we like to give, I always talk about whenever I do anything on a listing is always maximize value. How do we maximize value constantly? If it's decluttering, if it's staging, maybe, carpet and paint are the cheapest things to do, where you get back 110%. And just so when the house comes up, it still needs to look right, and has to really jump off the page to knock it out of the park. But that's what we do. I mean, I've sold over 4,500 houses, and so I get it. I know it has to be done. We're not going to make you rip your house apart, but we're going to make sure when you get that house listed and it's sold, that first week is going to really dictate what you're going to see. That's the important time. You don't get a second chance to make an impression. Right. Come out of the gate, and so when people see 7, 8, 9, 10 agents going through in a day, they're like, this house is going to sell. And if it doesn't sell, then you don't get too nervous that doesn't sell. But after 3 weeks and you have 35 people, then you start looking at pricing as an issue. But I haven't seen. I've probably seen 2 price reductions I've had in the last month and a half on my side. So yeah, that's usually, I usually reduce 3 for a week. 2 in a month. So that's a good thing for sellers, obviously.
Yeah, big time.
So and these places keep selling and setting new highs. So that's going to keep bailing these people out and making everybody their next step a lot easier than it really is. So,
sure. Yeah, I think it's important.
We'll see. It's exciting.
Yeah. We got to be optimistic. People got to be optimistic about it, but they also got to be realistic about it too. I mean, I think that's also super important. Be realistic of the situation, and maybe that's the way to do it. Like we talked about. Sell the property, move into something different, and then take that equity and use it. Use it to help yourself out.
The other change that I've seen is that person usually sells their house and moves out of state. They're not doing that as much. So they used to go into, like we said, a lot of them go into Philadelphia. A lot of them are staying local.
Really?
They're getting apartments here. They're staying local. They're buying something else. And, some people are going to North Carolina, South Carolina. Other people have houses in Florida or different spots. But, a lot of them are staying local. And that's a good sign because, for us, when everybody was a mass exodus out of New Jersey, we only get 1 sale instead of 2.
Right.
So now you're getting 2. So people that's a nice boost in the amount of business we're doing. So,
good.
And South Jersey is finally coming back on the map as a desirable asset, and it's. I never thought I'd see the day this quick that would happen. I should say I never thought people would be moving out of the suburbs into the city, but everything's cyclical. And one pandemic later, and everybody wants a 1/4 acre or more, so they can frolic in their yard.
Well, it wasn't just a pandemic this time. We had pandemic, and then we had the whole situation with the protesting. I mean, it's been a crazy 90 days. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, everything has been just nuts.
2020 will definitely be in the history books for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Without it's everybody's got their points of view, and so hopefully things calm down a little bit in the city, and we get people feel a little safer. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So where's the first restaurant you're hitting now that it's open?
They're actually. I've been a little distracted because my office is right on Main Street, and there's pictures. The mayor's in front of my window. There's all these people taking pictures because they're setting up a cafe right on Main Street, and everybody's waving to me in the window, and I'm sitting there going, because they're putting, I think Nene's is putting about 12 tables out front.
Oh, really?
So that's what they're all doing. So me a couple times, like waving to people. That's what's been happening. But yeah, so they're going to start this new bistro thing in the evening. He's putting I think 8 or 10 tables out there. So come down and join them. Nice. BYOB, hang out. So food's awesome. Yeah. I know LaScala's is extending his outside dining. I'm sure people have driven by PJ's and saw the parking lot converted to looks like a giant tailgate picnic out there. So they're trying as hard as they can.
Yeah, well, it's good to see things getting open back up again, and as long as everybody does it safely, that's the most important thing, right? Make sure we continue that.
So where's your first place you're going?
I don't know, man. I haven't left this bunker.
You have. The only bunker you go over to Little Mill, and that's the only bunker.
Golf in the bunker. That's about it, man.
I actually enjoy eating at home.
Yeah, I do too.
Sit up. You don't have to rush. You don't.
Yeah.
You save a lot of money.
Yeah,
I mean that's one thing. So it's interesting. But yeah, the next 60 days should give us a real good idea of what direction everything's going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, my big barometer, if we are busy straight through into December, man, this thing's going to really keep going strong.
Right.
I mean, you possibly could see another 8-10% of appreciation if we just keep motoring that far along.
It's crazy.
It should be
awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. So
How are you
we
guys,
need it.
Are you guys, to the people out there might be thinking about selling, how are you handling like now? Has it changed anything at all when it comes to like open houses and,
Still no open house. You're not
Okay.
allowed to do the open house, which is fine with me
Sure.
because I was never a big believer in the open house. I think, it's actually, I think it's made my staff a lot more productive because when you got appointments all day Saturday, you got appointments on Sunday, then you got to do an open house till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You're shot when you're working 7 days a week like that. So it's kind of refreshed everybody, I think, in that sense. We take a lot of precaution, like I've said in the past. We got our masks on. Some people prefer us to wear gloves. A lot of sellers have booties in the foyer for us. They have the hand sanitizer. I have like 4 bottles of hand sanitizer, which it's fine when it's 60 degrees, but now it's like 90 in your car, and it's like you're putting like soup on your hands. It's watered down, So all that stuff is still being practiced. Like settlements, same way. I had a closing today. Dropped off my package. I waited in the car because I was an hour away. Got everything together. Called me back in. Brought my docs out, and I think there's a lot of positives to this too. I think the process has been streamlined. We've said this in the past. Like my sellers don't go to closing now, and they haven't been for a year and a half. Now other agents are like, wow, we don't have to be here. No, you don't. If you do all your work the right way from the beginning, the title companies appreciate it because they don't have to cater to everybody. They can just concentrate on the buyer. They have the work to do, and you come and go and you pick up checks. It's a much better closing process. So,
do you think it's going to go back at all that way at all? Like how it was previously? You think people are going to stick to this? I mean, I actually think it's great, but I mean, what do you think overall?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Because if someone like myself, if you sell 100, 140 houses on your own, and you're sitting there for an hour, and it takes you 20 minutes to drive each way.
Yeah.
That's 280 hours a week. I mean, a year that you're not at closings.
Yeah.
It makes it so much easier.
Right.
And efficient. You can make sure, and just got to make sure your systems are in order and you're organized. That's real important.
Good. Well, the extra time you get to spend on helping your clients and getting them, other ways you can be spending that time for other clients.
Yeah. A couple things. You're helping your clients, number one.
Yep.
I've said this a million times, and you got to be part of the community more than ever now. You really do. I mean, the community needs you. There's no fundraisers that are going on. I mean, they just canceled the carnival in St. Joan of Arc. I mean,
my kids go, so I know it's horrible.
I mean, I've been going to that carnival since 1973, I think, when they started, or 74, every year. Yep. And that's a big, big moneymaker for the church. We're not, a lot of things are. So there's going to be some struggles in the next couple of years with those shortfalls. But be a part of the community and make sure if you have extra time and you're still profitable and doing things, try and help out, promote other businesses, and do things. I think that's what we're here for. We all got to work together.
Absolutely, makes a stronger community for sure. Absolutely, it's crazy.
And the one thing, real quick too, people don't realize how much housing pushes the local economy.
Yep.
They really don't. It's so undervalued that, just in employment, how many people work at title companies, mortgage companies, realtors? I mean, it's probably one of your biggest home builders, one of your biggest segments of employers in South Jersey. So if that continues, that's going to really help our local economy as some people struggle. And also, I've read a couple articles that say this is going to be the best workforce, new agents coming to the workforce in real estate that they've ever seen. because there's a lot of people who've lost their jobs. I have 2 or 3 new agents who are coming in who are pharmaceutical reps and different things. We're ready. We're going to do it. So you're going to get some really strong professional people that are going to come into this market that are really going to help us. So I'm looking forward to that respect too. I think it's going to be great for the industry.
Yeah, it's great. And you're giving personal training for all that?
Personal training. All my jokes are free. You come in, have fun. You know, we're pretty hands-on.
Yeah.
So my agents, I like to really shadow, spend time with me, go on listing appointments, do all, really make sure they learn the business from start to finish, because I think that's part of the problem. A lot of agents, there's a disconnect after they get a contract signed till the end, because every time there's a problem on the deal, they're like, Mark, you got to fix this. I'm like, how do we fix it? I'm like, calm down, and we'll get it done.
Right.
Some things you can fix and some things you can't.
Yeah, right. That's great. Good stuff.
You see what's out there. I don't have to tell you.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the market's strong, and there's a lot of agents, and there's all kinds of personalities at all different times, for sure.
That's right.
But yeah, we I know Mark and I have talked about this, and we hope you guys out there have gotten value out of seeing this and being able to hopefully answer some of your questions, make you feel comfortable with potentially buying or selling, and continue to reach out if you guys need anything. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, Mark. Got a couple of comments. I didn't even realize. Oh, here we go. Got one here. It says buyers have to be aggressive. That was from Chris Brown. Yep. And
super aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I had a buddy who's telling, when I brought up the whole idea of the restaurant to go to, he mentioned Bar Pity, which is one of our favorites in New York City. So little known spot that we go to, which is awesome. So it might take me a while to get out of my bunker to go to New York. I'm not going to lie, Kev.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there.
Yeah, but
the other thing too, when you get on that point, make sure you support all these small local guys when the retail's opening up.
Yeah,
I mean, they need you more than ever. I think it's actually criminal that the Targets of the world and the Walmarts were open during this time, and the small local guys getting his teeth kicked in. So if you can go out of your way and maybe it's a gift card to a restaurant or whatever, I think that's that'll really help the cause, and people appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too. Do you think that the restaurants are going to continue to do the curbside stuff even once they reopen?
Yeah, I think so, because I still think you got a lot of people out there who just won't step foot in a restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just 25% capacity. That's not paying the bills.
Right.
So, and when you start to fill these places up, a lot of people want to go out to eat now, and and then some people still are struggling doing that. So I think curbside, it's a big difference for the higher end restaurants to do the curbside, but I think it's still going to be part of their business. I think it is.
Well, everything evolves, right? Just like our business has evolved, and you've got to figure everybody else is going to have that same type of scenario. It's going to continue to evolve. So, real quick, I know there's a lot of buyers out there, like you said. What's the next? How are you looking specifically? Is there a bunch of stuff in your pipeline that we're going to start seeing coming up soon?
I have about 8 or 9 coming up. Okay. So that are nice price points. And I was just going over in our team meeting with my listings manager. I said, you know what the nice part about these 9 houses are? He's like, what's that? I said, everyone will sell. Everyone. It's not like you were selling 65% of your inventory. You're selling everything you list.
Right.
Just a question of how good of a job you're going to do, how good your customer service, and how strong you're going to do on the price. Okay, so you got to make sure. So we got 3 are getting shot today. Another one on Wednesday. So it's constantly you got to be filling that pipeline, because when you're selling 5 or 6 and you're only listing 3 or 4, eventually you're going to be out of inventory. So I never thought I'd ever hear myself say that. At one point, we were in the mid-70s of inventory.
Wow.
Yes, think about that.
No, I know, it's unbelievable.
you
It
know.
really is.
So
Great.
I think it's all good. It's all good. Keep plugging.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, I think whoever wrote that buyers have to be aggressive. You're 1,000% right.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of people who need housing.
Absolutely. That's Chris Brown, by the way, that gave us the aggressive comment.
Yeah. He's always aggressive, Chris.
Love it. Love it. Well, I know we talked about maybe trying to do this like every 2 weeks or so, and maybe not as frequently because the market hopefully opens up, and but we're going to definitely try to keep this going for you guys. Obviously, hopefully people are getting value out of it, and I know I have, just knowing how it helps everybody else from the calls I've gotten. So I think it's great, and I just hope everybody stays positive, be safe as this thing opens up, and let's keep things rocking and rolling, and reach out to Mark if you got a property you want to list, or if you guys are looking to buy, and reach out to me if you want to see what we can do for you as far as getting you pre-approved as far as buying. And then also if you're a current homeowner and you're not going to sell, it's a darn good time to refi because rates are ridiculous. So reach out. Love to help you all out for sure. Thanks again, Mark, as always.
Jeff, great job. And I keep saying every time we get on the call, for starting this and doing something positive from day one. I think it was real important for a lot of people's mindset just to make sure, hey, things are normal out there in a lot of circumstances. And this was one, I always tell my group, we're blessed that we're in this industry and we're able to work still. So great job, spreading that word, making people feel comfortable about things and not missing a beat on your end of the deal in the mortgage process. I think it was awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for watching, and reach out if you guys need anything. We're here for you. Even if it's not mortgage related, reach out. If there's anything I can do or Mark can do for you guys, if you're a business and need help, whatever it is, just reach out. We're here to help you guys. So,
awesome.
All right.
Thanks
everyone. Have a good one.
See you, buddy.
See you.